Listen, I need you to understand something before I tell you this story. When I say humans are insane, I do not mean it as a compliment. I mean it as a statement of observable fact, the kind you file with the Galactic Census Bureau under species that should probably be monitored more closely. My name is Kelver. I was a security analyst for the Thoraxian Collective, which, if you do not know, is the third largest military conglomerate in the outer spiral. Was. Past tense. Because of what happened with the human. Because of her. They brought Mira Castellan to detention facility Omicron 7 on a Tuesday. I remember because Tuesdays were usually quiet, and I had been looking forward to finally finishing my report on proper energy field calibration. Instead, I got her. She arrived in standard containment, which should have been our first clue that someone had screwed up magnificently. Standard containment. For a human. A species that had, in the last 15 cycles, managed to accidentally start 3 wars, purposefully end 7 more, and somehow convince the entire Vothari Empire that spicy food was a viable form of currency. The transport captain, a 4-armed Kellan named Bordix, handed me the data pad with her file. Special prisoner, he said, which in our line of work usually means, politician's kid who got caught with illegal stimulants, or, someone who knows where a lot of money is hidden. I scanned the file. Then I scanned it again. Then I looked at Bordix and said, very calmly, this says she destroyed an entire fleet. Yep. By herself. Yep. With what? A planet cracker. A dimensional bomb. Bordix shrugged all 4 shoulders. File says she used their own ships. Turned them against each other. 17 dreadnoughts gone in 40 minutes. I stared at the human in the containment field. She was small by galactic standards, maybe 1.6 meters tall, with dark hair pulled back in what I later learned was called a ponytail. She was smiling. Actually smiling, like she had just been told a particularly funny joke instead of being transported to the most secure prison facility in 7 sectors. Why is she smiling? I asked. Humans do that, Bordix said. Fair warning, they smile when they are happy, when they are nervous, when they are scared, and when they are about to do something incredibly stupid. You have to figure out which one from context. That is the worst evolutionary adaptation I have ever heard of. Wait until you meet one. He was not wrong. We processed Mira through standard intake. Biometric scan, which flagged her as having 17 different chemical compounds in her bloodstream that would kill most species but apparently just made humans a little tired. Possession inventory, which included 1 data chip, marked as personal music, and a small metal object she called a lucky coin. Psychological evaluation, which she passed with perfect scores despite answering every 3rd question with what I am pretty sure were jokes. Do you have any history of violent behavior? The evaluation AI asked. Define violent, Mira said. Physical aggression resulting in harm to others. Does it count if they started it? That is not how law works. That is exactly how law works. Self-defense is a thing. The AI paused, processing. Do you feel remorse for your actions? Which actions? The destruction of 17 military vessels and the deaths of 43,000 personnel. Mira leaned back in her chair. The smile never left her face, but something changed in her eyes. Something cold. Those ships were enforcing a blockade that was starving 6 million civilians on Theta Station. So no. I do not feel remorse. I feel like I should have done it sooner. The AI flagged her as psychologically unstable with hero-complex tendencies. I flagged her as going to be a problem. We put her in cell block Omega, maximum security, triple redundant containment fields, monitoring on all spectrums, and a direct feed to the central command center. The cell was designed to hold creatures that could bend spacetime, breathe plasma, or phase through solid matter. It should have been overkill for 1 human. Should have been. First week was quiet. Too quiet. Mira spent most of her time doing these bizarre physical exercises, pushing her body up and down off the floor, which seemed pointless given that the artificial gravity was calibrated to standard galactic norms. She also sang. Constantly. Songs in Earth languages I did not understand, with melodies that got stuck in your brain like parasitic thought worms. My colleague Thren, who monitored the overnight shift, started humming one of her songs during a staff meeting. When I pointed this out, he looked horrified. She is weaponizing music, he whispered. That is not a thing. With humans, everything is a thing. Second week, she started talking to the guards. Not threatening, not bribing, just talking. Asking about their lives, their families, their favorite foods. One guard, a young Vexian named Court, actually laughed at something she said. Laughed. In a maximum security prison. I called him into my office. What did she say to you? She asked if I had ever tried Earth food called pizza. Then she described it. It sounds amazing, sir. She is manipulating you. She is being friendly. Same thing. Is it though? I assigned Court to a different block. Third week, the first incident happened. Nothing major, just a minor glitch in the eastern power grid. Maintenance fixed it in 20 minutes. Logged it as equipment malfunction, age-related degradation, standard stuff. Fourth week, 3 more glitches. Different systems, different blocks, but always minor. Always fixable. Always just barely noticeable. I started watching the security feeds more carefully. Mira never did anything suspicious. She exercised, she sang, she slept. But I noticed something. Every time a glitch happened, she was positioned in a specific spot in her cell. Different spots, but always deliberate. Always precise. I pulled up the schematics. Overlaid her positions with the facility power grid. And there it was. She was mapping the system. Using the glitches, the tiny fluctuations in the containment field when power rerouted, to build a mental picture of our entire infrastructure. She is studying us, I told Commander Vex during our briefing. Vex was a Thoraxian like me, but old guard, the kind who thought humans were just another minor species that got lucky with faster-than-light travel. Let her study, he said. What is she going to do? The containment fields are impenetrable. Sir, this is a human. They made boats out of trees and used them to cross planetary oceans. They strapped explosives to metal tubes and rode them to their moon. They turned sand into thinking machines. They do not accept impenetrable. You worry too much, Kelver. Famous last words. Fifth week, she requested a meeting with me. Formal request, proper channels, very polite. I almost said no, but curiosity got the better of me. I went to her cell with 4 guards and a personal shield generator. She was sitting cross-legged on her bunk, still smiling. Always smiling. Hello, Kelver, she said. Thank you for coming. How do you know my name? I listen. You would be amazed what you can learn by just listening. What do you want? To make a deal. I laughed. Could not help it. You are in a maximum security prison, awaiting trial for military sabotage and mass murder. What exactly do you have to bargain with? Her smile widened. Information. See, I have been listening very carefully for 5 weeks. And I have noticed something interesting. Your facility is processing 37% more prisoners than it was designed for. Your power grid is running at 92% capacity. Your staff is overworked, underpaid, and at least 15% of them are actively looking for other jobs. You have 3 critical system redundancies that are not actually redundant because you had to cannibalize parts from one to keep the other 2 running. And, oh, this is my favorite part, your containment field generators are going to cascade fail in exactly 11 days unless you do a full system reset, which you cannot do because you cannot power down all blocks simultaneously. I felt my lung sacs constrict. How do you know that? Because I have been watching you trying to solve these problems. And failing. You are good at your job, Kelver. Really good. But you are trying to hold together a system that is fundamentally broken with determination and paperwork. This is still not a bargain. Here is the bargain. I fix your problems. All of them. In exchange, you let me have access to your engineering database for 1 hour a day. So you can find more weaknesses to exploit. So I can learn. That is what humans do. We learn, we adapt, we solve problems. Usually badly and with too much collateral damage, but we get there eventually. I should have said no. Should have walked away. But something in what she said resonated. The facility was failing. We all knew it. Command knew it. They just kept pushing the problem down the line, hoping someone else would fix it. I will consider it, I said. Great. Oh, and Kelver. You might want to check the coolant system in Block 7. I think there is a leak. There was a leak. A major one. It would have caused a containment breach within 72 hours. We fixed it. 6th week, I approved her request. Limited access, supervised sessions, full monitoring. She spent her first hour reading technical manuals like they were adventure novels, occasionally muttering things like, "Oh, that is clever," and, "Who designed this, a committee?" By hour 3, she had identified 17 critical issues we had missed. By day 4, she had written solutions for 12 of them. By week 7, the facility was running at 98% efficiency, and Commander Vex was taking credit for the improvements in his reports to High Command. I should have stopped it there. Should have seen what was happening. But the facility was running better than it had in cycles, and Mira seemed content with her arrangement. She got her learning time, we got a functional prison. Everyone was happy. Then week 8 happened. An inspector arrived from the Galactic Justice Council. Routine visit, checking on prisoner welfare and facility compliance. Standard procedure. Nothing to worry about. Except the inspector was Vorten. And the Vortens were the species that had ordered the blockade of Theta Station. The blockade Mira had destroyed 17 ships to break. I was in Central Command when he reached her cell. Watched on the monitors as he stood outside her containment field, reviewing her file on his datapad. Mira stood at the edge of the field, hands clasped behind her back, watching him. "Mira Castellan," he said. His translator rendered his voice as cold, clipped, bureaucratic. "Human. Saboteur. Murderer." "Vorten," she replied. "Inspector. Accessory to genocide." His head snapped up. "Excuse me? 6 million people. That is how many died during your blockade. Starvation, disease, preventable medical conditions. But they were just humans and associated species, right? Just resource allocation problems. Just numbers on a spreadsheet. We were enforcing lawful sanctions. You were murdering civilians. We were maintaining order." Her smile finally disappeared. "No. You were committing atrocities and calling them policy." The inspector stepped closer to the field. "You destroyed military vessels. You killed trained personnel. You are a war criminal. And you are a bureaucrat who signs death warrants from a comfortable office and sleeps well at night because you never have to see the bodies. So which one of us is worse?" I saw his hand move to his datapad. Saw him input something. And I knew, with absolute certainty, that he was going to make her disappear. Not a trial, not a transfer, just gone. Erased from records. A problem solved quietly. Mira saw it too. I could tell because her smile came back. "You should not have done that," she said quietly. "Done what?" "Flagged me for termination. See, I have been very good for 8 weeks. Very cooperative. Model prisoner. But you just reminded me why I am here. Why I did what I did. You are contained. You are powerless. Mira tilted her head. Am I? The lights went out. All of them. Every light, every monitor, every system in the entire facility. Emergency backups kicked in after 3 seconds, bathing everything in red emergency lighting. Except Mira's cell. Her containment field was down. And she was gone. The alarm started screaming exactly 2.3 seconds after the containment field dropped. Which, in retrospect, was 2.3 seconds too late. I was already running. Down 3 corridors, past panicking guards, through security checkpoints that were supposed to seal automatically but had mysteriously remained open. My communicator was screeching with reports from every section of the facility. Containment breaches. System failures. Doors locked or unlocked seemingly at random. And through it all, playing over every speaker in the entire complex, was music. Earth music. Something with a driving beat and a human female voice singing about not being able to stop and not caring about the consequences. Mira had not just escaped. She had taken over. I reached Central Command to find Commander Vex staring at a dozen screens showing nothing but static or that same looping message. Hello Thoraxian Collective. We need to talk. Tell me you have her location, Vex demanded. Sir, I have 47 possible locations. She is bouncing her signal through every relay in the system. She is one human. Find her. I pulled up the security logs, trying to trace what had happened. The power failure had not been a failure at all. It had been a precisely timed cascade, shutting down systems in exactly the right order to disable the containment fields while keeping life support and structural integrity intact. Every glitch from the past 8 weeks had not been glitches. They had been tests. Probes. She had been teaching herself our systems, learning every weakness, every vulnerability. And we had helped her do it. Sir, Thren said from his station, his voice shaking. I am getting reports that she is opening cell blocks. Selectively. Only certain prisoners. Which ones? The political dissidents. The refugees. Everyone arrested for protesting the Theta Station blockade. Vex turned purple, which for Thoraxians means either extreme anger or imminent cardiovascular failure. She is starting a riot. No, I said quietly, watching the patterns emerge on my screen. She is starting a revolution. The communicator crackled. Mira's voice, casual and conversational, like she was discussing the weather. Hi Kelver. Hi Commander Vex. Before you try something stupid, and let me be clear, you are absolutely going to try something stupid, I want to explain what is happening. Surrender immediately, Vex barked. You are surrounded by 200 armed guards and 12 automated defense systems. Actually, I am surrounded by 43 armed guards, and 6 automated defense systems because the other 6 are currently experiencing technical difficulties. Also, 17 of those guards really do not want to be here. I have been listening to them complain about their pay and working conditions for 8 weeks. High Court. Hope you get that transfer approved. I heard someone laugh nervously over the guard channel. Here is the situation, Mira continued. For the past 8 weeks, while I have been helping fix your failing systems, I have also been installing something. A little program. Think of it as insurance. Right now, every system in this facility is running through my code. Life support, containment fields, doors, communications, even the coffee makers in the break room. Everything. We will override it, Vex said. You will try. You will fail. See, I did not just learn your systems. I understand them. I know how you think, how you build, how you solve problems. You are efficient, logical, methodical. It makes you predictable. And humans, well, we are none of those things. We are creative, chaotic, and stubborn. We do not solve puzzles the way you expect. A schematic appeared on the main screen. The entire facility, with Mira's code highlighted in red, spreading through every system like veins through a body. You cannot remove it without shutting down everything, I said. Including life support for 4,000 prisoners. 5,217, actually. You need to update your census data. But yes. If you try to purge my program, everyone dies. Including you. Vex was now definitely purple from anger. What do you want? I want you to listen. Really listen. Not file a report and forget about it. Not promise to look into it eventually. Actually listen and understand. The screens changed. Images appeared. Theta Station during the blockade. Humans, Vexians, Kellans, dozens of species, starving in corridors. Children with distended bellies. Medical facilities overflowing with patients who could not get basic supplies. 6,412,809 people died during your blockade, Mira said. Her voice had lost its casual tone. It was cold now. Precise. I know because I counted. I went through every record, every casualty list, every mass grave. I learned their names. Not all of them, there were too many. But I learned as many as I could. More images. The fleet she had destroyed. Not glorious explosions, but the aftermath. Debris fields. Escape pods. Survivors being pulled from wreckage. 43,621 military personnel died when I destroyed those ships. I know their names too. I know how old they were. I know if they had families. I know what their favorite foods were and what hobbies they enjoyed and what they wanted to be when they were young. Her voice cracked slightly. Just for a moment. Then steadied. I carry all of them. Every single one. The 6 million I tried to save. The 43,000 I killed to do it. That is what war costs. Real costs. Not statistics in a report. Not acceptable losses. People. Lives. Futures that will never happen. The screens showed one final image. The inspector. Vorton. At his comfortable office, signing documents, sipping what looked like expensive imported refreshment. And then people like him show up. People who ordered the blockade from safety. Who never had to see the consequences. Who get to continue their careers while millions are erased from existence. And I am the war criminal. I am the one in prison. Silence on the command center. Even Vex had stopped shouting. So here is my offer, Mira said. I am going to walk out of this facility. I am taking everyone arrested for opposing the blockade with me. 347 people who are only criminals because they tried to stop a genocide. You are going to let us leave. You are going to provide us with a ship. And you are going to file a report with the Galactic Justice Council explaining exactly why we were released. And if we refuse? Vex asked. Then I start shutting down systems. Randomly. Maybe life support in Block 3. Maybe containment fields in the maximum security wing where you keep those creatures from the void dimensions. Maybe the structural integrity fields holding the station together. I will not kill anyone on purpose. But accidents happen. Systems fail. And you will spend the rest of your careers explaining how one human outsmarted your entire facility. You would murder thousands to free hundreds. No. You would murder thousands by refusing to do the right thing. I am giving you a choice. You just do not like the options. I looked at Vex. Saw the calculations happening behind his eyes. Pride versus pragmatism. Authority versus survival. We need to evacuate the facility, I said quietly. Get everyone out. Then we can deal with her program without hostages. That would take hours. High Command would have our heads. High Command is not here. We are. And she is right about one thing. If we try to fight this, people will die. She is a terrorist. She is a human. They do not bluff. They do not back down. And they absolutely will burn everything rather than lose on principle. I have studied them. Trust me. Vex stared at the screens. At Mira's code spreading through our systems. At the images of Theta Station. We cannot let her win, he said finally. This is not about winning. This is about minimizing casualties. To you, maybe. But High Command sees it differently. They see precedent. They see weakness. They see one human forcing the Theraxian collective to surrender. And that was when I realized we were going to do something incredibly stupid. Vex opened a channel. Not to Mira. To the military response team stationed 3 sectors away. This is Commander Vex, Detention Facility Omicron 7. Authorization Code Omega Black 13. We have a catastrophic containment breach. Request immediate tactical response. Full suppression protocols. Sir, I said. Full suppression means they will destroy the facility. Everyone inside dies. Including the human. Problem solved. 4,000 innocent prisoners. Acceptable losses. I heard those words. Heard the exact same phrase Mira had talked about. And something shifted in my mind. I pulled my sidearm. Pointed it at Vex. Every guard in the command center turned to look at me. Kelver, what are you doing? Something I should have done 8 weeks ago. Cancel that order. You are committing treason. Maybe. Or maybe I am preventing mass murder. Honestly not sure which, but I know letting you kill 4,000 people to save face is wrong. They will execute you. Probably. But at least I will be able to sleep at night. Friend stood up from his station. Drew his weapon. Pointed it at the other guards. I am with Kelver. Then Court. Then 2 more guards. Then 5. Within 30 seconds, half the command center had chosen mutiny over murder. Vex looked around at his divided command. Looked at me. And for the first time since I had known him, he looked old. Tired. You are all fools, he said quietly. Yes, sir. We really are. I opened a channel to Mira. You win. Take your people. Leave. The ship will be fueled and ready in 20 minutes. Just like that. Just like that. But Mira? You need to understand something. This does not end here. High Command will not forget. They will hunt you. Forever. Let them. Humans are very good at running. And even better at fighting back. Why did you really do this? It was not just about escaping. You could have left any time after week 5. Silence for a moment. Then her voice, softer. Because someone needed to. Someone needed to look at the system, at all the little compromises and acceptable losses and bureaucratic murders, and say no. This far and no further. Even if it meant becoming the monster they say I am. Are you? A monster? Ask me after I have had time to count the bodies from today. But probably yes. Good people do not destroy fleets. They do not take over prison facilities. They do not force decent guards to choose between their careers and their conscience. Monsters do that. Then why? Because sometimes the only way to fight monsters is to become one. And humans, well, we are terrifyingly good at that. The channel closed. On the monitors, I watched 347 prisoners being led to the hangar bay. Watched Mira coordinate the evacuation with the precision of a military commander. Watched her pause to help an elderly Vexian who had trouble walking. Watched her smile reassuringly at a frightened child. Monster. Hero. Terrorist. Savior. Maybe she was all of them. Maybe that was the terrifying thing about humans. They did not fit into neat categories. They were contradictions wrapped in flesh, capable of both breathtaking compassion and horrifying violence, often in the same moment. The ship launched 47 minutes later. The moment it cleared the facility perimeter, every system came back online. Life support stabilized. Containment fields reactivated. Doors unlocked. And on every screen, one final message. Thank you for listening. Try to be better. Or next time, I will not be so nice. Vex was arrested 3 hours later. I was arrested 3 hours and 10 minutes later. The rest of the guards who had sided with me were taken into custody by the end of the day. The trial was surprisingly brief. Mutiny, insubordination, aiding a terrorist. Guilty on all counts. But here is the interesting thing. The Galactic Justice Council, in their infinite wisdom, decided our sentences should be served at a new facility. One with better conditions. Better pay. Better oversight. One designed specifically to prevent future incidents like Omicron 7. Someone, somewhere in the bureaucracy, had actually listened. I spent 3 cycles at the new facility. Served my time. Got released on good behavior. Never saw Mira again. But I heard about her. Everyone heard about her. The human who escaped the most secure prison in 7 sectors. Who freed hundreds. Who made the Thoraxian collective blink. Some called her a hero. Some called her a terrorist. Most called her insane. Me. I call her what she really was. Human. With all the beautiful, terrifying, frustrating, inspiring chaos that entails. And if the galaxy was smart, really smart, it would remember her lesson. Try containing her. Fine. But the galaxy will pay the price. Every single time.